Hi everyone, Anna Marino here, your moderator for week 1 stakeholder communications, or at least targeting them with relation to your research projects. I'm just going to first of all probably start this with saying that in terms of your learning outcomes, all of those learning outcomes which you will have read and seen on your weeks ones at the beginning and at the end of your week 1 resources, cover them extremely well, particularly with relation to what stakeholders bring or can potentially bring to research understanding or research outcomes, research implementation, all of the above. You managed, amongst you all, you managed to really bring those to the fore. So I guess one aspect that I really enjoyed reading from you was the notion of your stakeholders providing you an alternative view or perspective to seeing how you see your research and how you're perceiving your research in terms of rolling it out. You know, what are the options and opportunities? And of course, all of those things that you've listed in terms of the benefits that stakeholders can provide, whether you've met them at a conference scenario or a seminar, or whether you've had your actual meeting specifically with specific cohorts of stakeholders. And I'm just aligning this with your online discussions, or whether you look at them in the activity and the roles they play more specifically, and the influence that they can have on your research, and they do. I think many of you recognise that your supervisors they are stakeholders to your research, and they have a great deal of influence. One of our colleagues was talking about the high level of influence that was potentially there for government entities. Now and that kind of fed into, how am I going to engage these? How am I going to communicate with them? So that if we look at the resources that we've made available in this last week, we've looked at a whole raft of different ways of engaging and bringing together stakeholders, depending on whether you wanted a workshop, whether you wanted information, whether you wanted to work through an issue, whether you merely wanted to present your research project to a particular group of people, no matter who they are. All very different, and also how you, for example, can use your 3-minute thesis presentations at the end of the year. I'm still, awed by the imagination and the innovation that many of the students use in terms of presenting their research. So they're all avenues, they're all roads. There's many resources that you can use within those avenues of delivering information. See them as a resource, in terms of, what have I got in my hands that I can use? How am I going to get this message across? And of course, there's also the thesis, and there's the journal articles, etc. So we covered that as well this week. And you had your polls, which 25 of you responded to the poll week 1. And I think the majority of you, which I think was in total 20 of you, of the 25 agreed that all of the above items listed were impacted on your academic research in terms of the relationship with the stakeholders. Your second 1B poll was about clarity of understanding. Now, we only had about 12 students, I think, participate in that poll, which I'm not going to say disappointing, no, 16, sorry. And I think there are 7 of you were clear on everything, defining your stakeholders, the value of stakeholders and stakeholder influence were probably areas that you may that you felt you weren't so clear of. And for those, and if you're still not clearing them at the end of the week, please either post a question on discussion board on the online classroom. Don't worry about the fact it's not answering a question, or go to the need help section on your discussion board, or just send me an email. I'm more than happy to support that, because that feedback's important for me. And that's why the polls, to see how you're travelling and see how you're going, and that feedback's important for me to see and think, well, what am I going to do? Are the resources enough? Are they clear enough? Are they are they meeting your needs? Basically, you've all stated in your introductions, Cafe, what you were hoping to gain. So please, I'm here as your one of your resources. Okay. I think we've covered the content of the resources. The networking, which is also very important, was another aspect that came through again on your discussion online classroom. A number of you said attending conferences, etc. Provided that opportunity, as well as all the things I've mentioned to now. I'm looking at the time because I don't want to make this too long for you. The majority of you on the online discussion did choose question C on presenting to stakeholder audiences, and that's fine. It was great actually to read all the posts, and no matter whether you chose A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, whichever of those questions, you all, from my personal belief and what I read, very rich, interesting content provided by you all. You all have a clear understanding of the learning outcomes. Sorry, I guess I'm just wanting to probably say at the end of this is that I just really appreciate your time in terms of participating in this project. I'm glad to see, really happy to see that more of you are responding to your colleagues in terms of making some comment. Also, just go back and check on your posts if you see or one hasn't been read or something, because I note them, and I see that sometimes there's a question a colleague may ask, even in the student cafe, and please answer the question, because they've asked it, and this one is really working in the same field and wanting to engage, but that's all personal choice. Okay, I'm going to finish now. If there's anything I feel I've forgotten, I will actually put it in writing to you. Thank you very much. Look forward to all your all of you putting up some more interesting and insightful and stimulating and enjoyable reading for me posts for next week. Okay, week 2, and start thinking about your question for the Zoom session in week 3, and it doesn't have to be a question just related to week 3. Just preparing you. Bye. Thank you very much.